Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bait.com's Career Talk. I'm Hatem Hanoun, and it's my mission to help you start and grow your career through this series that we're doing here. So for this week's episode, I want to take you through 5 ways to have an awesome first week at work. So let's get started. Alright, so you started your first job, or maybe your first week at a new job. Some of the challenges that we face have to do with names. You need to speak to people around you, especially in your first week. Find your way around, ask people for certain things, ask them how to do certain things. You need to know their names. And this often tends to be one of the challenges people face in the first week. If you're in a company that has 50 employees, 100, sometimes even more employees than that, it becomes a challenge. So make it a good habit whenever you're introduced to someone at first to repeat their name. You might have heard that people's favorite word is their name. So do that. If you're introduced to a Omar, hi Omar, nice to meet you. Sarah, hey Sarah, it's nice to meet you. And if you're in the GCC or in the UAE in a multicultural environment, that becomes an even greater challenge when you're faced with names you're not familiar with. So make it a habit, especially at the beginning, to repeat their names. Once you repeat it once, twice, 3 times, then it becomes easy. You don't want to find yourself trying to start a conversation with someone 3 months down the line, forgetting what their name is. So make sure to repeat their name at first. It helps you remember their name. You might want to associate their name with a friend's name or a family member's name that'll help you more easily remember their name. So this is one of the bigger tips that makes your life a little easier at work. So in your first week at work, there are many things you don't know. Just because you have a degree in the role that you've taken up doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to do the job just right from the gate. So it's important to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions either. And ask a lot of questions if you need to. What's important here and what I recommend is don't ask questions that end or require a yes or no answer, because then that feels like a waste of time for both you and the person you're asking. Ask more open-ended questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You won't be annoying. It's better to ask a lot of questions at the beginning and ensure that you know how to do the job right than to make a critical mistake down the line based off some assumptions that you've made. So ask questions, ask many questions. Don't be afraid to be annoying. Don't ask those questions that just elicit a yes or no response. So 42% of respondents in one of our recent studies said that they're not satisfied with their current role. Now, knowing that, we want to avoid that getting into your job. Now, if you're working in a company that has numerous employees, over 100 employees, you want to avoid being another cog in the wheel. What I mean by this is try to avoid stepping into that 9 to 6 routine where you're doing the same thing over and over every single day. So in the first week, sit down with your manager, clearly outline your goals, what your role is, what's expected from you, and discuss ways in which you can bring added value to the organization. Now this will show interest, it will show enthusiasm to your manager. Whether these suggestions are taken seriously or not, this at least shows your interest and your passion for the work that you're stepping into, and then opens up doors for you to take on other responsibilities and other tasks in the organization that will avoid you having to step into the office every day, sitting at your desk and doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. It's often natural to build great relationships with those around you, with your team members, with the people that sit at desks next to you, with your manager, sometimes even the CEO. But we often overlook building great relationships with people that we don't interact with on a day-to-day basis. What I mean by this, if I'm someone in a marketing role, I shouldn't overlook the relationships that I can build with people in the IT team or the admin team. These are people that could help me. So I need to build great, genuine, polite relationships with everyone around me. They will be able to help me. Lunchtime is a great opportunity to do so. Sit down and lunch with people outside of your team, outside of your department, and build great relationships with them. And for my 5th and final tip to you today, I encourage you to follow the KAIZEN principle. KAIZEN is the Japanese word for continuous improvement, and I highly encourage all of you to do so, especially in your first week at work. Ask for feedback. Ask for feedback from your managers, from your co-workers, and be ready to take their criticism in positive spirits. 52% of professionals in the Middle East stated that they use the feedback they get to improve their performance. So once you get the feedback, make sure to set improvement plans, improvement goals on a weekly, on a monthly basis. Let people around you know that you're not afraid of change and that you're always striving to be the best. Your first week at work is often your stepping stone in your growth in the organization. In your career in general, it's your chance to leave a great first impression. So make sure to do so and let everyone around you know that you fit into the organization and you're there to do great things. And that's all I have for you in this week's episode of Bait.com's Career Talk. I hope you've taken some things away from this, some things that will help you start and grow your career. Make sure to follow us here on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram for the latest updates. And as always, if you have any questions that you want us to feature on our mailbag episodes, send them to careertalk@bait.com. We'll feature some of your top questions in these episodes, so be on the lookout. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.